My research in American literature has focused on the Revolutionary period, the decades before and after the Revolution. And I think that most Americans are aware that this was a period of change, politically, obviously. But I think that one of the things that makes the study of literature from this period so fascinating is that so much of the rest of our modern culture was in flux at this time. Specifically, if you think about the change in national identity simply as a change from monarchy to democracy, that may seem pretty straightforward. But when we look at what happened to the free white citizens of the United States when that change happened, their identities, their personal identities, changed too. So that they went almost in an instant, really, from being colonists to being colonizers. And that may only be a few letters, but in terms of your sense of who you are, it's really a world of difference. And when we start to look then at these people and the change they had both in terms of national and personal identity, we start to realize that all the other aspects of personal identity were also in flux. What it meant to be a woman or a man, what it meant to be a member of a particular racial group, what it meant to be free or unfree. All of these things were kind of up for definition at the same time that the nation was defining itself. From a literary perspective, it's really interesting to look at what cultural historians have done with these kinds of changes and to think about how that interacts with the changes in literature, specifically to look at the history of the book, the history of printing, and ideas about what it means to be an author and how those relationships between authorship and personal identity get played out. Right now, we hear a lot about the death of the book. We hear about the end of newspapers. We hear about the internet and how it's going to replace every other means of communication and every other way of exercising our subjectivity in the world. And I think we have a lot to learn by looking back at this foundational moment of American history to see how people tried to exercise agency then and how their sense of personal identity and national identity played out in these various kinds of media that they were involved in.